All right, guys, welcome back to Medical Money, the podcast where we help you, healthcare professionals, learn finance, protect your income, build wealth, and make smart financial decisions. My name is Kirk Roberts. I'm an ER nurse, financial educator, and licensed financial representative.
And I'm Ben Chandia, a firefighter, advanced CMT, also a licensed financial representative. Okay, guys, we're going to talk about something that's really going to hit close to home today. Okay, maybe it's happened to you personally, maybe it's happened to someone that you know. But what happens when your income suddenly stops, and or worse, when your family loses you completely, and there's not a plan in place to replace that income that's been lost?
Guys, today's episode really is about real life scenarios of income protection that we talked about while we're building our financial plan and are building our financial house. We wanted to talk to you. I mean, we've given you information, but let's talk about real life scenarios, stuff that our healthcare workers, first responders, people just like you have faced injury, illness, burnout, and even death. Some were protected, some were not. So each story has kind of a little lesson for us today.
Okay. So guys, let's start off with Maria. Okay. Now, Maria, she's a orthopedic tech. She slipped on some ice in the morning before on her way into work. Okay, before her shift, she broke her ankle and was out for about 4 months or so.
And you would think that an orthopedic tech would have instantaneous cure because she works for an orthopedic surgeon, but no. Her PTO only lasts for a couple weeks, so she has no income. What about her bills? They're still due. Do you think that the company, the credit card company, her rent, her mortgage, or whatever it is, calling up saying, "Oh, Maria, sorry about your ankle. Oh my gosh, don't worry about paying it." No, bills are still due, people. So she had to drain her savings. She had to tap into her 401k. She had and if she would have had a basic long-term disability policy, she could have replaced 60% of her income.
I mean, it's not 100%, but it's better than 0%, right? And so instead, though, guys, she got hit twice, right? One by the initial injury, okay, and then two by the financial fallout. Like, that's a double whammy, I'd say.
And guys, remember, you can actually get this long-term disability insurance when you actually have your benefits every year. This is actually something that they bring up and say long-term disability, even short-term disability policies are available for your benefits program. So let's take a look at one that's a little bit sensitive. This one right here is about David, the ICU nurse, diagnosed with lymphoma. He had to stop working for over a year, no income. Wife had to take multiple jobs, and they fell behind on their mortgage.
And, that's the crazy part is, David, he thought he was invincible, right? A lot of us feel that way. I mean, he's healthy, he's strong, mid-40s, young guy. But guess what? 1 in 4 people become disabled during their work years. It's not rare. It's really just unpredictable.
Well, look at today's society. I mean, look at today's healthcare world. We're all dealing with aggressive patients now, entitled patients, violence in the work care. I mean, do you guys not have billboards and signs at your hospital saying violence will not be tolerated here, aggression will be prosecuted? Well, or slipping at work, or falling, or
Kirk, how many bariatric patients have you had to carry
all day long, right?
Throw your back out. I mean,
so accidents can happen at work, guys. And so these are the challenges, right? So anyways, don't be caught up in the fact that it's not going to happen to you. It could happen to you.
It definitely could. It definitely could. And it's not that we're here fear-mongering, right? This is reality, guys. Okay. It's reality. Protect yourself. Okay. Be proactive, get these things in place so that you don't become a victim or a patient, right? Yeah, definitely don't.
And then you can get burned out.
And that's a real thing, right? Both in the hospital, especially on the fire side, the EMS side, burnout's a real big deal. There's Emily here. She was a respiratory therapist. She couldn't keep up after COVID. I mean, for those of you who were around during COVID, we all remember it was a weird time. Like, it was really weird, kind of fun in some cases because, it's is almost cowboy-ish type times, but it was weird, right? And it burned a lot of people out. She was mentally broken. It wore down on her. She was diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety and needed to really just step away, but she didn't have any coverage in place.
Yeah, and people forget disability insurance and disability policies aren't just the physical aspect. There's also the mental aspect, and mental health matters, guys. But most employer plans don't even cover it. So, they'll cap the benefit after, like, say, 24 months. You've got to read the fine print. So when you do your health benefits or your benefits from your work or whatever, look at that as an option as well. So, well, let's take a look at this. What about the nurse who died without life insurance? So this is a hard one to talk about. So Lisa was a pediatric nurse, passed away suddenly from a brain aneurysm, early 30s, 2 young kids at home, and no life insurance, none whatsoever.
Yeah, guys, her husband obviously very devastated. I think anyone would be, not just emotionally, but financially as well. He had to move in with his family. Of course, everyone wants to do that, right? No, we don't. But he had to move in with his family. He started GoFundMe's, and now has to work 2 jobs just to stay afloat and try and be a dad. Like, it's...
No, that's hard, guys.
It sucks.
This is why term life insurance is non-negotiable. It's cheap, easy to get, and protects your family. So if you need life insurance if someone depends on your income. There's no way to justify that, guys.
Yeah, 100%. So how about we end on some good notes here, okay? A little depressing here. But let's end on a win, okay? Jordan, he was a paramedic. He had 2 things in place. He had a long-term disability policy and a 20-year term life insurance policy, okay? I think it paid off for him.
Yeah, he tore his ACL. It was out for like 6 months. His disability paid about 60% of his income, and then 2 years later, he was diagnosed with early stage colon cancer. So recovered fully, but he had the peace of mind that everything was in place, that if something had happened to him, that his family didn't have to worry.
Yeah. And, if anything worse had happened, his term policy would have kicked in and would have left his wife and his kids with $500,000. Okay. Now, because this is coming from the death benefit, it's completely tax-free. No taxes on $500,000. I think that would change someone's life.
100%.
Yeah.
So here's the breakdown, guys. Disability protection, disability insurance protects your paycheck while you're alive but can't work. Term life insurance protects your family's future if you die or, let's say, your spouse or whatever, someone else who provides income passes away.
Yeah. And really, they're both income protection tools. One protects your living income. The other protects your legacy. Again, living versus legacy. Okay. Remember those two. And both are a lot more affordable than people think.
Guys, you take care of people. I mean, you're healthcare workers. This is what you do. But who's going to take care of you when you go down? Right?
Yeah. Guys, and it really does pay off. Okay. Personal experience. I had a client that he went to work, okay, and he came home, and young family, wife had passed away on the recliner, right? He came home, passed away, nothing that they could do. And so we got connected with them. We helped them process the life insurance policy, the death claim, all that stuff. And guys, it was so amazing. Obviously, horrible that his wife passed away, but we were able to sit down and hand him a check for the full amount of his death benefit. We were able to pay off their house. So they don't have a mortgage anymore. He doesn't have to move in with family. Huge financial burden taken off. So mortgage is paid off. His daughter is getting ready to go to college. We were able to pay for her college, right? So she can have that education. And then he had a son that had some disabilities, and we were able to get him the needed care that he has for those needs. And the cool part was at the end, Kirk, like I got emotional actually, because he sat down and asked him like, hey, you've been through, we had a little extra, and I asked him, look, you've been through hell. You've been through absolute hell. I would never want to be in your position. Your wife's gone. Okay. You've been through all this stuff. What do you need? What do you need? What do you want? Right. And he took off his glasses, had some tape, kind of, Harry Potter style, taped up in the middle. And he said, I could really use some new glasses. Gosh, I lost it, Kirk. I lost it. And I was like, man, let's get you some new glasses, right? Guys, it pays off. Okay. Of course, we don't want to think about this stuff. I mean, we deal with it sometimes on a daily basis. But when it happens to you, it's different. It's very different. Okay. So please be proactive, right? Proactive versus reactive. Right, we're forced to be reactive in the hospital in EMS. Right, we have to react to a situation, to a call, whatever the case is. Okay, financially speaking, you don't have to be reactive. I mean, I guess there's cases where you do have to react, right? But proactivity is so much better in the long run.
Well, we talk about all the time, preventative medicine, right, versus reactive medicine. So that's why they're doing all the screening tests and all these things to get things done preventatively so we can figure out the problems and work on them. So guys, once like he's saying, be proactive, not reactive. So, hey, don't wait for the crisis to figure this stuff out. Best time to get covered, yesterday. Second best time, right now.
Today.
So guys, we're here to help you. Please reach out to us at medicalmoneycash@gmail.com. We want to help you. We want to be able to provide you opportunities to get your financial house in order. So please send a message out to us. We'll be more than happy to take care of you. And subscribe. Send these podcasts to anyone in the healthcare profession that you know, doctors, nurses, phlebotomists, ENTs, paramedics, whatever you want. Send this information because we want to help you learn finances and how to protect your family for the future. So guys, thanks for coming, being here. And like we always say, does this make sense or does this make dollars? Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
I'm looking for a man in finance, the trust fund. 6'5", blue eyes. Finance, trust fund. 6'5", I'm looking for a man in finance, the trust fund.